With everything IVE has achieved, and all of the success surrounding them, you would think Starship had every reason to want to keep IVE stans interested and give the girls what they deserve, but this isn't really the case. I genuinely believe that Starship wasn't expecting IVE to make it so big, and they definitely don't know how to handle such a big group. The company is too confident in the fact that IVE are so loved and they have a big fandom, as well as having the general public on their side. That's why they probably think they can afford doing the bare minimum because IVE are gonna be successful anyway. And I mean, now they are successful no matter what, and maybe they will still be successful no matter what even in the future. But Starship has to realize that this can't go on forever and they actually have to start putting more effort in the way they manage the girls. If you're confused about what I mean when I say Starship is doing the bare minimum, then let me explain. First of all, let's talk about their underwhelming album designs. Albums are a huge source of income for a K-pop group, so it's important for a company to try and make albums as appealing as possible. In less than a year since debut, IVE became million sellers, but it's surely fans' loyalty and their love for the music that contributed to such a huge amount being sold, because there is nothing, and I repeat nothing, that can explain why somebody would want to buy such underwhelming-looking albums. Don't get me wrong, I don't think they're that ugly, and I love me a minimalistic design. But there's a difference between something being minimalistic and something simply lacking effort. Let's take into consideration their debut album 11 that has two versions. They're literally just a black and red cover. That's it. I know there's a decorative pattern on the cover but you literally cannot see it unless you look closely and these albums just look so underwhelming that I absolutely hate seeing them on my shelves. Moving on with Loved IVE's album. This was definitely an improvement, because at least Starship bothered to ask their graphic designers to create a new font for the title, but this is literally the only positive thing about this cover, because other than that it's just a plain color. It looks aesthetically pleasing but the lack of effort is blatant, which leads us to After. We don't see any improvement whatsoever. Not that I was expecting much from Starship but I thought that with Loved IVE's success they would have been more motivated to give the girls a better album design. Anyways, I don't even know what to say about this cover. I don't even dislike it because it's just so neutral and plain that there isn't even anything to dislike. Last but not least we have their first full album IVE. I like the design because it's somewhat elegant and it's right up my alley, but it's definitely not outstanding nor memorable. If you walked in a K-pop store you wouldn't even notice it because it would just fade into the background compared to other groups' albums. If we compare IVE's album designs to literally any other Starship album we can instantly see the obvious lack of effort. It's clear the graphic designers put more work into these albums compared to IVE's. It's like Starship knew they didn't have to try hard because IVE were gonna sell a lot anyway, and so they just came out with the most basic design ever. I genuinely hope they'll stop with this mindset and wake up, giving IVE a great album design for their future comeback to make up for the underwhelming covers they've had so far. Another thing Starship is responsible of is missing opportunities. In every group's career there will be specific opportunities that can lead to the members getting even more famous and loved, but it's up to the companies being able to make the most of these favorable occasions, and Starship has proven to be absolutely awful at that, not just with IVE, but with other groups as well. But let's go more into detail about the opportunities they missed with IVE. Not giving the girls dance practices for the B-sides and no performance videos for the title tracks. I mean it's not that hard. I'm not even talking about a music video, just a dance practice. But no, it wouldn't have costed Starship a lot to film a freaking performance or something, especially considering the amount of money IVE are earning. You cannot tell me Starship didn't have the means to give them a performance video. This would have been great especially considering Royal, Hypnosis and Blue Blood are fans' favorites. Most IVEs absolutely love those B-sides and would have absolutely ate up a dance practice if there was one. Now, not to be annoying in comparing groups, but if we look at Gravity, they have a performance video for all of their title tracks and they even have some special videos and selfie videos, which is something that not even senior groups like WJSN and Monster X have. Starship should honestly do better. Now moving on to the second missed opportunity. Not capitalizing on viral songs. Before Loved IVE dropped, IVE released Dear Cupid as the comeback teaser. The audio went viral on TikTok and literally everybody was obsessed with it. Even people that were not into K-pop and had no idea who IVE even was. Starship could have released a full version of Dear Cupid but they didn't. They could have at least created a TikTok challenge for it. But they had IVE dancing to the song on TikTok only months after it went viral, completely missing the chance to maximize the hype. It's crazy how Dear Cupid was so loved even by people outside of K-pop. It really had what it takes to be a hit. But of course Starship did absolutely nothing about it and never cared. Another missed opportunity has to do with IVE's Japanese debut. Their popularity in Japan is actually quite insane. And now you're wondering, what did Starship do for their Japan debut? Well, they did what they always do, the bare minimum. That's what they did. In fact, IVE's Japanese debut was literally the Japanese version of 11. That's what it was. They casually threw in their B-side track, Queen of Hearts. That, by the way, has an awful mixing and an awful production. So much that even if I like it, I physically cringe when I listen to it because it's so badly produced it's almost funny. Every other group out there debuts in Japan with a brand new song. But Starship was like, I'm gonna make sure I don't fit in. So they gave them 11 Japanese version and called it a day. Seems like a great decision to me. The next problem with Starship is that they waste B-sides potential. You don't even need to be super into IVE to know that they always perform the same songs over and over again whenever they go to music festivals. They perform their title tracks and Kitsch, which was a pre-release, but they literally never perform their B-sides. The only chance we have of hearing their B-sides are their own concerts, but even then, they only perform around 5 of them. They literally just came out with a full album and they've only ever performed 2 of the B-sides, Blue Blood and Not Your Girl. But what about the others? At least they performed Blue Blood, who did fairly well on Korean charts for being an unpromoted B-side. But still, they only perform it in their concerts, not even during music show festivals, which is exactly where they should perform it to make the general public get to know the song more, especially because it did fairly well in terms of charting, so people were interested in it. But Starship did nothing. I just have to say, even if IVE are my ults, I don't really look forward to their stages that much now, because I just know they will perform the same stuff over and over again. Obviously they always come through with their vocals and their stage presence, but it's always the same old songs and it's getting boring. IVE also have a problem with the YouTube content. Starship had a great idea with their reality show 123 IVE. Everybody clearly enjoyed that, judging by the amount of views, and it gave us so many fun activities, which is great, and it's probably the only thing Starship got right as far as YouTube content is concerned, because the rest of their content as a whole is pretty repetitive, consisting of just vlogs and behind the scenes. I absolutely love that content, but that's because IVE are my ults. A casual stan is not gonna care about that stuff. Dives care because we are attached to the members, but unless you really ult them, I think you're just gonna get bored. There's honestly so much more Starship can let them do, starting from vocal and dance covers, or even self-written songs, considering 4 of the girls have experience in writing. But also, they could be posting content like mini games and other fun activities like Gravity has been doing with their series called Gravity Park, where they just basically do so many different things in each episode. Gravity Park is basically like 123 IVE, but the episodes come out regularly and stans don't have to wait for months before a new season. And now let's talk about Starship's lack of transparency. I understand companies keeping certain things private, but Starship takes it too far. For example, about a year ago we came to know from the members that they had been involved in a minor car accident. Luckily nobody got hurt, but if it wasn't for them mentioning it we would have never known. I feel like hiding something like this is pretty awful, because it just looks like a pathetic attempt from Starship to save face. Another instance is when Wonyoung got injured on the set of IVE while filming for the MV. I get it that maybe it was Wonyoung herself who didn't want us to know so we wouldn't worry, but when the news came out during a radio interview with the director, Starship quickly deleted the video, and this is what pissed everyone off, because at that point, you should take responsibility instead of acting like nothing happened. I also think about when Ray had health issues and had to sit out for most of IVE's promotional period. Starship left us without any information about her for months. I get it that she needed to rest and needed time to recover, but Starship could have at least said something so we wouldn't worry too much. The way they act is pretty pathetic, and it goes to show the lack of transparency this company has. Obviously I'm not trying to compare IVE's situation to groups who have been heavily mismanaged and even mistreated. Not at all. IVE's situation is nowhere near that bad, but it could be better. After all, Starship has a history of not managing their artists too well and putting low effort into things. This has happened to other Starship groups in the past and I'm aware of that. However, if you are more familiar with their other artists, please let me know more in detail. Anyway, You would really think Starship would give IVE everything they deserve considering they are the company's money makers along with Monster X, but like I said, Starship doesn't know how to deal with such a popular group and they think they can just sit back and let the fans do all the work. They give IVE shitty album designs, recycled outfits, an underwhelming light stick, repetitive YouTube content and they think we wouldn't notice. It's true that IVE is successful despite everything, but Starship really needs to get their shit together and realize that they have to step up their game. Anyway guys, thanks for listening to my ranting. Let me know what you think in the comments. Bye.